Welcome everybody to week 3 of Vlogmas in July. I'm Gaz and this is my channel Eridani Hinton. This month I'm working my way through 2 projects. One is an advent calendar and the other is a crochet along. The advent calendar is by Heidi at Vegan Yarns and it's made of 24 15-gram skeins of what Heidi calls Elbereo is the base, and that is 51% cotton and 49% bamboo. The advent calendar is being worked into the Dragon Belly shawl by Johanna Lindahl of Miho Crochet. The crochet along is called Joycal 2025, and that was designed by Siona Roberts at Hooked on Crochet Club. And that's being worked in Garn Manufactor Lola Classic Bobble. And that's the colours behind me. This is a custom colorway featuring Hooked on Crochet Club's logo colours. So that's a custom order. I'll have all these linked in the description below. So first up is the advent calendar. So it comes in this box and with the stand, and just for the spelling of that name, the base, that's Elbereo fingering weight yarn. Okay, so to open day 15. There we go, we have quite a dusky green. I'll hold up the yarn first just by itself, but then I'll hold up the Dragon Belly shawl where I've worked up to the previous day. So it's a tiny bit more, I want to say, grey than yesterday. There you go. And these are my favourite stitch markers, these clippy looking ones. I love them. I don't use stitch markers often, but when I do, that's the one I often go to. And Joycal, I don't have any in progress at the moment, but behind me here are the ones I've completed so far. Joycal is made of 30 squares, and they are 6 of Siona's washcloth patterns worked out to a certain size, and then you'll make 5 of each of those 6 patterns to make 30 squares. And then there's a join and a border also included in the cal. So I'm going to ball up the advent calendar yarn and work that into my Dragon Belly, and I'll be back shortly for final check-in. Good evening, I'm back for final check-in for day 15 of Vlogmas in July. I've finished working the colour into the shawl, and so that's it there. So you can just about see the difference between the 2 colours. At least in real life you can. I'm not sure how it's showing up on the camera there. And to show you in full, I have to step back a little bit now. So there it is there. And again, this is the Dragon Belly shawl by Johanna Lindahl of Miho Crochet. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, it's July 16 and I'm back to open another box on the advent calendar. So here we go, day 16 is just here. Oh, and it's very blue now. So it's still this grey colour, but instead of a green base, it's blue. There you go. So I'm going to go ball this up and work this into the Dragon Belly shawl, and I'll be back for check-in. Good evening, it's the 16th of July and I'm back to share progress on the advent shawl. I've got some squishy mail too from a new dyer I found just last week, so I'll share that as well. So first up is progress on the advent shawl. So this is it here, and we've worked in that grey blue colour. I think this is maybe like the sky at night. I think that's what I want to call that one. It's a bit hard to show on the white shirt. It just turns black. But if I hold it up maybe on the side here, there we go. That's a bit better. So still loving this thing. It's so cool. And because we're turning grey blue, I think we might turn to maybe dark blue or something next. But yeah, very excited to see where that goes. Okay, so on to some acquisitions. This is not going to happen all the time. It's just a coincidence that I found a new dyer last week. So this is Life in Loops. I don't know too much about them. I know they're somewhere near Newcastle, or somewhere in New South Wales anyway. And the first thing on their website is an advent calendar. So I bought that. It's 100% cotton fingering weight yarn, and there's going to be 1200 gram skeins. So I bought the advent calendar, and while I was there, it popped up, do you also want to buy this? And that was color of the month. So I bought July, back 5 months, whatever that works out to, March. So I bought those 5, and then they actually packed me a little squishy surprise. So I'll show that one as well. So I'll start from, I think maybe I'll start from July's color of the month, and that's this amazing blue. And I think this might have been dyed being inspired by winter, because it's quite cold it's quite cold up here in Mackay in tropical Queensland. So I couldn't imagine what it's like in New South Wales, especially in the Hunter Valley there. Next up is colour June. And this one is actually a little bit similar, well, sort of. It has some similarities to Fiddlesticks Ashton Marine that I showed last week. So that's the two together. So my plan with the Fiddlesticks Ashton is a Troy Boy beanie. And so I think that because this one is a bit more yarn, I think that I might turn this one into the Musselburgh hat. I think the whole planet has worked one of them hats. Even years later, I was on Ravelry this morning and it's still in hot right now. So for a pattern to do that, yeah, I think I do have to work it. That's a sign from the gods. The next is May. I'm not sure what the inspiration for this one is, but it is stunning. This is, I'm going to say this is a garden. So you've got the blue sky, you've got the green for the petals and the grass, the leaves and the grass, and then this great pink of the petals of those flowers. So this, I'm really looking forward to working this one. I'm not sure what pattern to make from this one, but yeah, this is going to be awesome to work. Next up is April, and this is amazing, this one. This has, it's a fair bit of undyed yarn, but then you have these big purple spots, and then speckles of this this bright pink, fuchsia, magenta. I'm not sure. Boys can't tell purples and pinks, so I apologize for that. But trust me, it's really nice. And then last up is March, and this one, I'm pretty sure I saw on the website, this one is dyed inspired by St. Patrick's Day. Great greens. So I bought those 5, and then the dyer included a little squishy surprise, and that's a 50 gram skein of a 50 gram cake of their February colorway, and this was inspired by Valentine's Day. So you have some little purple splotches. You've got a little bit of black, some blood red. Yeah, I'm really excited to work this one. So the dyer is Life in Loops, and the tagline, it's okay to be a little loopy. I think that's spot on. I think anyone here might be a little bit loopy. And it seems that Life in Loops is a mad fan of crochet, so they have their own patterns as well, and yarn kits for their patterns. I think I saw a call for testers as well on their Instagram. But I'll link everything below anyway. So I think this one here, being a 50 gram skein, I'm going to keep this one earmarked for late August, because that's when Stephen West announces AMCAL. So this one, I think this one's going to live on the countertop behind me, and just so I can see it. And then, yeah, I think this might work its way into AMCAL, whatever it turns out to be this year. I do have one more thing, and that is something to help with tech. So I have my microphone magnet to my shirt there, but it keeps pulling my shirt down. So I bought a Pride lanyard. This one is the one side has the progress flag, and the other is the trans flag. And I've seen that there are magnetic lanyards you can buy. So it's got a big magnet that sort of sits here, and then you can magnet the microphone to it. I have magnets on my workbench, and I have a sewing machine, so I'm going to turn this, just this normal, like a normal badge lanyard, I'm going to turn that into a magnetic lanyard, so my shirt's not being pulled down and I'm all lopsided. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Tomorrow there's only going to be one check-in, so I'll see you then. Good evening. Welcome to July 17. I've only got the one check-in today, so I'll show you something I finished last night after final check-in, and then we'll open the advent calendar. So first up is Joycal 2025, and this is based off of the cream pie washcloth. This is my fourth square 2. So I'll hang that one up behind me, and I've just started work on my final square 1. So I'm not too far away from finishing that one as well. So onto the advent calendar and day 17. So what are we going to get today? Oh, you nearly can't see that. This one is a really cool color. This one is the deepest blue. Look at that. I love this one. That's something maybe that a king would wear, I think. That's a great color. Okay, so I'm going to go work this into my dragon belly shawl, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. It's day 18 of Vlogmas in July, and I'm here to show you progress on the advent shawl and to open day 18. So first up is the dragon belly shawl, and that's yesterday's color, this gorgeous dark blue. And to show you the shawl held out, there we go. I'm loving this thing. I can't wait to see those last 7 colors worked in. So on that note, let's open day 18. There we go. It's the same or similar color to yesterday, just a touch lighter. Actually, I think that's the same color as my shirt. There you go. It's shirt color. There you go. That's what it is. All right, I've got a couple minutes between now and when I have to get ready for work, so I'm going to ball this up and work this into the shawl, or at least start anyway. I'll catch you tonight. Good evening. I'm back for final check-in. I finished working day 18 into the shawl, and so here's progress so far. This is the last 5 or 6 days worked in. I really like these blues. I like all the colors actually, but Heidi's done an amazing job of dyeing and curating these colors. I think it's great. So I've also finished working my final square of square 1 for Joycal 2025, and Siona's based this square off of the marshmallow washcloth. So I'll hang that one up behind me. And then I think maybe I'm in my PJs, so I might just sit in bed and work on my final square 2. And when I'm finished those, you'll see them up behind me. I'm going to go get stuck into that, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. It's another day. It's the 19th of July and the 19th day of Vlogmas. So that means we get to open another box on the advent calendar. The advent calendar is a little bit falling to pieces, especially when I open 2 boxes that are a box that's next to an open one. So yeah, I had quite a bad rip on today's box. But I suppose I'm not going to be using it to store yarn anyway, so I'm working it up as I go, so I suppose it doesn't matter that much. But today 19, so there we go. And this, I think this reminds me of my school uniform colours, I think. I went to school in Woodridge, and so that was white, grey, and this blue. Talk about a blast from the past, that was like 23 years ago, something. Anyway, I think I might have mentioned in an earlier check-in that I have a marathon this weekend, so that's on the Sunday. But today is bib collection, so I'm driving up to Airlie Beach today to get my bib and check into the hotel, all that sort of stuff. So I've got a couple hours
to do some crochet, and then just some house stuff. Empty the bins, make sure there's no dishes in the sink, just so the house doesn't smell when I come back. So if I can work out how to take you along with me, we'll go on a road trip. So if I can figure that out, I'll be back later. If not, we'll just have the one check-in today. Catch you then.
Good evening. I'm back for final check-in for day 19 of Vlogmas in July. I'm just working on my final square 2 of Joycal 2025. I had to think for a second there. And this is in Gun Manufactor Lola Bubble Box. And this is the bubble box colors that Siona designed herself, which is the Hooked on Crochet Club logo colors. I just wanted to talk about Hooked on Crochet Club while I'm working on this square. So it's a subscription service. It's a monthly subscription, and it gives you access to patterns, tips and tutorials. So the patterns each month, they'll focus on something different, like maybe one will be texture, working flat, working in the round, working in rounds versus working in rows. And in those 3 patterns you receive each month, there's Project 1, which is a small pattern, Project 2, which is a little bit bigger, might take you a little bit longer, and a square. So I might talk about the square first. It's not necessarily always a square. Sometimes it might be a rectangle, sometimes it might be a hexie or a triangle, but that's the square of the month. And so Project 1 and 2, they will always mirror each other. So for example, Project 1 is just a small version of Project 2. So maybe Project 1, you might work, say, a coaster, and it might feature maybe moss stitch or something like this. And then Project 2 will be a placemat maybe of the same, using that same stitch, that same technique that you've just learned. So Hooked on Crochet Club, whether you've been crocheting forever, you've never picked up a hook before, I think it can be a really good thing for you. Each Wednesday, Siona goes live on the Facebook group. She does hook and learn sessions. So she talks about the stitches from the monthly project. And if there's anyone that needs help with anything at all, whether it's got to do with that month's projects or not, doesn't matter. You just pop it in the Facebook group, and if one of the other group members doesn't help you, Siona will, and she might even talk about it on one of the hook and learn sessions on the Wednesday. I've made a couple things. I was going through my stash looking for something for when Vlogmas in July finishes. I need a couple projects to work on, or a project to work on. So I was looking for something to do, and actually I found a couple of washcloths that I'd worked previously that were from one of the first few months of Hooked on Crochet Club. So that was really fun, and it actually turns out that 2 of them are square 5 and 6 of Joycal 2025. So it was really funny when I found that. I saw them and went, oh, hang on, I recognise you. So yeah, you'll get to see square 5 and 6 in a bit. I've got to work out. I'll finish this one first. This is my last square of square 2, and then I'm going to do all my square 3, and then I'll do 4, 5, 6. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about Hooked on Crochet Club and what it's all about. I've been a member since it started, so 1st of July 2019. I already knew how to crochet before I joined, but yeah, it's really fun. Siona makes some really cool designs. I actually did a poncho. There's a poncho called the Diamond Poncho, which uses filet crochet sort of thing, and there for the bottom half of a diamond, and then for the top half is a popcorn stitch. I made that and tried it on and took some photos, and then I used the Face app with the female filter, and I give myself a good laugh. So I might, if I can, I'm trying to figure out how to put photos and videos in my video, but if I can figure it out, I'll insert it in here. I was a little bit bigger back then, but I gave myself a good laugh because I actually look exactly like my auntie. So Yeah, it's a bit funny how a female filter on FaceApp made me look like my auntie. But anyway, it's yeah, I'll see if I can put that one in. I'm gonna keep working on this square. It's very close to dinner time. I think the restaurant just opened, so I'm going to. I can't eat too much tonight because of the run tomorrow, but I'm definitely doing some carb loading. So I'm going to have maybe some mashed potatoes or something like that, or some steamed rice. Come get an early night's sleep, and then I've got about an hour and a half to kill tomorrow between waking up and starting of the run. I've got a little bit of a ritual that I do there. Wake up 2 hours, an hour and a half before, and then do my little race prep ritual and head down and start the race. So in that time, actually, I might open the advent calendar. I think that'll be good. I can't work it tomorrow or tomorrow morning while I'm prepping for race day, but I can certainly open it and show you all what that color is. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Yep, I'm going to go get some food, and then I'll check back in tomorrow with opening the advent calendar. I'll see you blurry-eyed tomorrow.
Good morning. It's the 20th of July, and I'm back to open another box on the advent calendar before I head for a run. So I forgot to show you yesterday, actually, the progress on the dragon belly shawl. So this is it here with that last color worked in. So that's that royal blue, that school uniform blue. And also I finished my Joycal square 2. So this is all of the square 2s done now. I forgot to bring anything with me to cut the yarn, so I can't weave my ends in, but I'll do that when I get home. And then to open the box for today. Okay, day 20. There we go. I think you can just about see that. And that is a nice navy blue. I think the colors may be showing up a little bit more purple, but that's definitely blue. Okay, so I'm going to go for a run. So I'm going to be about 4.5, 5 hours, something like that. And then it's a 2-hour drive home. So I'll see you tonight. I'm not sure how much progress I'm going to have on the shawl, but yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. Catch you then. Good evening. I'm back home, back from Airlie Beach. I finished the run, got a lot of green stuff in me for lunch and for dinner. I've had coffee and plenty of water, so we're all good for an early night, I think. I did DNF. I was running probably 540s for the first 20k, and then I'm not sure if maybe I cooked myself or what, but yeah, I got to the 30k mark and I couldn't go anymore. My hip flexors actually, so hip flexors usually that's a sign of weak abs, which I already knew, so that's probably what it was. A little bit of not training properly too in the lead up, but yeah, I think maybe in this case was a bit of weak abs, so I might concentrate on them for the next marathon. So I've when I got home after a shower, I got stuck into working day 20 into the Dragon Belly shawl. So I'll show you that one now, and that's this shade that's slightly lighter than the royal blue, I guess it is. So that's all worked in now. Another 4 rows. And I'll hold it up because I think it might have been a while since we've seen it held out. There we go. I'm freaking loving this thing. It's awesome. So I'll always love a dragon belly, but with these colors, yeah, it's amazing. The other thing too is that I'm always wearing either blue, one of these blues, or I'm wearing mustard, like I'm wearing right now too. So, and this has got sort of both in it. So I think it's going to go well. Yesterday or this morning, I talked about I was going through trying to find some projects for after Vlogmas in July, and I mentioned that a couple of years ago I actually worked square 5 and 6 of the
Joycal 2025. So I worked these in Bendigo Woolen Mills 8-ply cotton. This one here is the honeycomb washcloth. I haven't actually used these yet. I'm not sure why, but I created them and then I put them straight in a box, hidden away where I couldn't find them. But anyway, so that's the honeycomb, and then this one is mulberry. So now that I've found them, I'll start using them. So this one is square 5 of the Joycal, and then square 6 of the Joycal. So I'm a little bit away from working any of them patterns yet, but that's what they look like. I really like this honeycomb with the front post, back post. So that's going to be really fun to make. I think that's all I have to show you for tonight. So, like I said before, I'm going to go get an early night, and then I might go for a run in the morning, just a recovery run. Even though I didn't do the full 42k, I still did 30 at quite a pace. So, yeah, we definitely need a recovery run tomorrow. So I think that's the plan. I'll catch you tomorrow for day 21. Good morning. It's the 21st of July and the 21st day of Vlogmas in July. I'm checking in to open the 21st box of the Advent Calendar by Heidi at Vegan Yarns. So let's get into it. So day 21. Oops. There we go. Another lovely, I was going to say blue, but I think we're tending purple now. There we go. So it's Monday, so that means work. So I'm going to head to work. Once I'm home, do some little chores and stuff, and then work this colour into Dragon Belly Shawl, and I'll be back for final check-in of the week. Good evening. It's the end of the night, and that means it's the end of the 3rd week of Vlogmas in July. I've got progress on the Advent Shawl to show you, and also 3 nice things to talk about. So first up is the Advent Shawl, and this is with day 21 worked in. That's the purple on the top 4 rows there. Next up is the 3 nice things. So the first one is another YouTube recommendation. If you've lived on YouTube as long as I have, which is pretty well since YouTube started, you'll know, or you may know, Michael from Vsauce. They've released a new video in the last week. I think it's been quite some time. I'm not sure exactly how long, but it's been a fair while since their last video. This one here, the topic is maybe not for everybody. They talk about death and how we count the passing of time, how we measure time passing. And so doing this Advent calendar, I've never done one before, whether that's sweets or toys or anything. I've never done an Advent calendar before. So it kind of puts some things into perspective about how we measure the passing of time. So we've only got 3 days left of the Advent calendar, so it's kind of, there's some kind of parallel there between opening these boxes, and I'm not sure, like, I'm not a philosopher, but yeah, there's some kind of parallel to be drawn there. But another thing he talks about is the ghosts we leave behind, and so that's our name is one of them. But another thing is the things we make. So whether that's YouTube videos, whether you're a crocheter, knitter, whether you make short stories, whatever it is, the things we make will live beyond us, and that sort of goes back to something I mentioned in a previous video too, about when you put something on the internet, it's there forever. It can't be deleted. So yeah, I think that's. I mean, maybe it's not a nice topic, but it's definitely the way they talk about it is nice, and it is something that we all should talk about. It's a necessary part of life. My second nice thing is a little bit more joyful than that, and that is candy. So this is some candy I found recently. This is a chili peanut brittle. For anyone who's keen on Australian-made products, I'm not sure where they're made, but it probably says it on the back here actually, but they're at least 99%, it says here, Australian-made. And so that's Kelly's Candy Co. Chili Peanut Brittle. This thing is amazing. I had some for breakfast this morning. Is that good?
So yeah, can recommend the chili peanut brittle. They also make macadamia brittle that's really good too. And I think my third nice thing is going to be my yarn find from last week, but it only arrived this week, and that's the Life and Loops. Um, when I bought the monthly box, or the monthly yarn, sorry, I did ask in the chat box if they have a subscription service. At the time, they didn't, but I've just been on the website and they do now have a subscription service. So you don't have to set yourself a calendar reminder or anything like that. You can just buy the subscription, and without thinking about it, the yarn will show up in your mail. So I think that's pretty good. So I think that's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you. Well, for me, it'll be tomorrow, but for you, it'll be in another week. Thanks again.